Okay, here, as I was saying, 1.1, if you look at the marks, 3 marks, okay? And then they say, which is solve for x. Usually the first question, it's straightforward. You can simply open 2 brackets and then you factorize this thing. Okay? And then if you look at this one that says correct 2 decimal places, you can use completing the squares, or you can use quadratic formula. Né? Now, I want to show you this one for those learners, like as I was saying, there's a learner who asked me, which said, if I say x minus 2, and then close bracket, and then I say x minus 3, and then I say x minus x plus 6, x minus 1. If you're asking me this question here, it means that you still don't know how to factorize. If you don't understand the how did we get these things, because we don't just get them, they are not just coming from anywhere. So if you're still asking that question by this time, it means this, don't do that. When you rather use the quadratic formula. If you are lazy to use the quadratic formula, use the calculator. On your calculator, you're going to go to table method. Go to mode and then go to table. Table, you're going to type this thing here. This is f of x, it's a function. So you're going to type this thing here. You say you have alpha, you have x, and then you say square. And then you say plus 5 alpha x, okay? And then you say minus 6. And then you say equals to g of x, you don't write anything. And then where do you want to start? You want to include as many values as you can. So you can start at minus 5. Try as many values as you can until it gives you error. So I'm going to start at minus 5. If minus 5 and then I go to minus 5, I'll check if it doesn't give me any error. And I'm going to leave my step as 1. And then here's what I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for this side where y is equal to 0. Those are my possible values of x. Y is 1. Y is 0. Can you see here? When y is 0, what is x? Yeah, and then I can come and put it here, which, okay. X is going to be equal to 1. That is a possible x value. Where else? I'm just looking where y is 0. Look at here. Just checking where. This is the only one that I have. Okay, after that, this is what I'm going to do then. I'm going to open 2 brackets. I'm going to put x here, and I'm also going to put x here. And then here, I get this thing here, it's positive here. When it gets to the bracket, it's going to become what? Minus 1. And then I'm going to inspect then after that. What is the value that I can what is the value that I can put here such that when I multiply, it's going to give me minus 6? Simple as that. What is the value that I can put here such that when I multiply it with this value here, they're going to give me minus 6? What can you put then? You're going to put plus 6 again. Yeah, and then it means which x is going to be equal to what? Minus 6. That makes sense. And then if this one is still not clear for you, then you can go and use the quadratic formula. And then let's go to 1.1.2. On 1.1.2, it's already in a standard form. Okay? You just have to identify A. What is A? 5. What is B? It's 1. What is C? It's minus 3. And then after that, we are going to have x, okay? Minus b plus and a minus b squared minus 4ac, which is provided in our information sheet 2a. And what are you going to have? You're going to have minus 1 plus and a minus 1 all squared. Minus 4 multiplied by 5 multiplied by minus 3 all over 2 multiplied by 5, like this. And then you type this in your calculator. What did you get if you type this in your calculator? X is equal to, yeah, here we're also going to try to put our calculator in a, okay, let's type that. You say you get what? 0.68. But I want to take this opportunity to remind each other, how then do we put this into 2 decimal places so that we don't get it wrong? So we say which we are going to type this as root again, and then it's minus, open bracket, it's 1. So we're supposed to open the bracket first. Open bracket 1, close the bracket, plus root 1 all squared minus 4 multiplied by 5 multiplied by minus 3 all over 2 multiplied by 5 equals 2. And then this is not in 2 decimal places. And then if we're going to put it into 2 decimal places, we press shift again. And then we press 6. And then we should say 2 decimal. And then it gives us 0.68. Okay, after that, we go to the one with the minus then. Delete minus equals to, we get x is going to be equal to minus 0.88. Yeah, 2 decimal places. And then for this one, you'll get 1, 2, 3. This one you'll get factorizing 1, 2, 3. Now, okay, 1.1.3. 1.1.3, it's still a challenge. Now here you can apply the product rule to say this is going to be equal to minus 3, this is going to be equal to minus 3. You can only do it if this side is 0. So you start by saying 1.1.3. Critical values. Critical values are going to be given as 2x minus 1. And then you have x plus 3, which is going to be equal to 0. Or it's going to be equal to minus 3. And then from here onwards, you say FOIL, this one multiplied by this one gives us 2x squared. This one multiplied by this one gives us plus 6x. This one multiplied by this one minus x. Minus 3 is going to be equal to minus 3, like this. And then you take this one to this other side, it says good, you have 2x squared. This one and this one, they are like terms, it gives us plus 5x. And then it says minus 3 plus 3, it's going to be 0. This one and this one, they are going to give us this one and this one. Then we have 2x squared plus 5x is going to be 0. Here, you can then check out the common factor. Get the 2 terms here. It's x is going to be equal to x. 2x plus 5, which is going to be equal to 0. X is going to be 0, or 2x plus 5 is going to be 0. X is going to be equal to minus 5 all over 2. Now, after that, you go and draw. If you're going to draw, you put smaller one first, it's minus 5 all over 2. Bigger one, it's 1, it's 0. And then you check the value of A. Especially if there are brackets. If the bracket is not so clear which one is the value of A, you just have to multiply the values with X to tell you whether the A is positive or what, or negative. In this case, the A is positive. Okay? If the A is positive, it means that you are dealing with the quadratic equation which is smiling. So you are dealing with the quadratic equation which is smiling. So here it is. And then here, they are asking you which it should be greater than above the x-axis. So you have below the x-axis and then you have above the x-axis. So this is the x-axis. X-axis y is going to be equal to 0. Above the x-axis, below the x-axis. So if they say above the x-axis, what do they want? They want this part here. This part is above the x-axis. And then they also want this part. This part here is also above the x-axis. Now, what can you say about these values of x? Values that are this side, are they bigger than 5 all over, minus 5 all over 2, or they are less than 5 all over 2? They are less than 5 all over 2, okay? So we'll say which x is going to be less than minus 5 all over 2. Was it less or equals to, or is less than 1? It's less than or equals to. Yeah, you check here. If it's less or equals to, you will use less or equals to now. Yeah, it's less or equals to. Values that are this side, are they bigger than 0 or less than 0? They're bigger than 0. Or it's either you go there or you go to x is going to be greater or equals to what? To 0. And then this is going to be your solution then. And then we go to 1.1.4. 1.1.4, we're dealing with sets, but we're dealing with a set with one term, and then we're dealing with a set with two terms. So it makes them to be sets not from the same family. So since we're dealing with two different sets, the way we do this question, we'll say group sets one side and group the non-sets one side. We have minus. But in this case, what is the difference between the question that we've been doing and the question that we before we were dealing with sets from the same family? Like you will be given one set. Here you're given two sets. This one it has two terms, this one it has one term. Inside the root, a set is the root. So inside the root, you have two things. Inside the root, you have one thing. So you're going to treat them as if they're two different people with these ones. So you're not going to group them in one side. So you're going to take this one to this other side, and then you take this one to this other side. And then it says which you have root x minus 1, which is going to be equal to root x minus 5. Then the question that they asked me, Mara said, what if I take this person and then I just take them to 1? You can still do that. Let's try that. We've never tried it that way. Let's do it. So you'll have root x, okay, which is going to be equal to 1 plus x minus 5, like this. Okay? So this one, it's a root with one term. This one is a root with two terms. And then you want to remove the roots. If you want to remove the roots, you're going to square both sides. And then if you square both sides, let's look at what is going to happen here. This one and this one is going to give us what? X squared. Okay? Here, this one, if you square this thing, it means you are repeating it 2 times. Okay, let's repeat that 2 times. The what?
The square.
The square doesn't cancel the root. You're correct. If I say this one squared is going to give me x, not x squared. Wanted to see if you are awake. 1 plus x minus 5. 1 plus square root of x minus 5, like this, okay? And then if you say 1 multiplied by 1 is going to give us what? This one multiplied by this one is going to give us what? Plus x minus 5, like this, okay? If I say this one multiplied by this one, it gives me plus x minus 5, like this, okay? This one multiplied by this one, look at what's going to happen. I agree, we're multiplying the root, as what Nomvula was saying now. If I say this one multiplied by this one, the root disappears, okay? And then you're going to be left with whatever is inside the root. So what is going to be inside the root here? You have x minus 5, like this. Was still good. This is x, okay? And then look at these two. They are like terms, okay? If these two are like terms, we can add them. We can add roots, by the way. We're allowed to add roots. We can do that. Roots, they act exactly like your variables. So if I say I have root x minus 5, I have root x minus 5. It's going to give me 2 root x minus 5. I want to start with the root first. These people, all of them here, because they don't have a root with them, I'm going to take them to the other side. So this one and this one, they're going to give me, if I say 1 minus 5, it's going to give me minus 4. Okay? And then I'm going to take this minus 4 to this other side. Okay? It's going to give me what? X minus 4, okay? Plus 4. Okay, this one, it was positive. When guess this side is going to become what? So it's going to be minus x. And then you can see the x and the x are going to divide each other out. And then what are we left with? You are left with 4, which is going to be 2x minus 5. I want to remove this root much. How would I remove the root? I'm going to square both sides. If I square both sides, it means that I'm repeating the bracket 2 times. X minus 5, like this. No? And then whatever I do on the left-hand side, I'm also going to do it on the right-hand side. So 4 multiplied by 4, it gives me what? 16. 2 multiplied by 2, it gives me 2. 2 multiplied by 2, it gives me what? It gives me 4. Okay. Root multiplied by root is going to give me what? X minus 5. This one multiplied by this one, it gives us 4x. Okay? This one multiplied by this one, minus 20. Okay? Take this one to this other side, it says which you have 36, okay? Which is going to be 4x. Divide by 4, divide by 4. It says x is going to be equal to what? 2. I will still find. But you feel this one is longer than the first one. It is for geniuses, this one. Okay? I take it I'm a genius. Okay, let's go to this one then. Solve simultaneous. If I go to solve simultaneous, we have this equation, we have this one. Which one seems to be simple between the two of them? Usually the first one is simple. Okay, we are going to take y to this other side. If we take y to that other side, it says which you are going to have 2x, which is going to be equal to 1 plus y, like this. Okay? And then you take this one to this other side, it says which you have 2x minus 1, which is going to be what? To be y. And then you are going to have something like this. It's 2x minus 1 all squared. It means to repeat it 2 times again. So it says 2x minus 1 minus x multiplied by 2x minus 1, which is going to be equal to x plus 7. This one multiplied by this one, it gives us 4x squared. Okay? This one multiplied by this one, it gives us minus 4x. This one multiplied by this one, plus 1. This one and this one, minus 2x squared. This one and this one, plus x. Take this one to this other side, minus x. Minus 7 is equal to 0. Okay, this is how I do it. I mean, I highlight the things as no squared. Squared. This one and this one, they have squared. Okay? So both of them, since they have squared, what am I going to remain with here? It's 2x squared. Okay? And then let's go to the one with x squared. This one has x, this one also has x, this one also has x. Okay? So if I say this one, it's 4, it's minus 4. Plus 1. Minus. It gives us what? Minus 4x. And then you have 1. You have 7. It gives us what? Minus 6. It's equal to 0. Then you can put this in a quadratic formula. After this, you can put this in a quadratic formula. Yes. What is that? Yeah, what do you do? Yeah, it's fine. You as if you factorized. When you use the quadratic and then you come and open 2 brackets like this, you don't want to write the quadratic. And then what you get as your factors, you got x minus 3. Ne? And then x plus 1, like this again. And then x is going to be equal to 3. Ne? Or x is going to be minus 1. Yeah, you can do this if you want to. You got these answers from the quadratic formula, ne? And then you went on to put them here. Yeah, you just have to be careful which if it's negative here, when it gets here, it becomes positive. And then if it's positive here, when it gets here, it becomes what? Negative. Again, it says which y is going to be equal to 2 multiplied by 3 minus 1. And it says y is going to be 2 multiplied by minus 1 minus 1. And then here what you get? 5. Ne? Yes. And then this one what you get? Y is equal to minus 3. Yeah, and then you're officially done with this one.